Good morning, Cinco de Mayo. Y'all eating tacos today? We'll have to do so. So today I want to talk about, what happened that, I was able to get the PFA, because obviously I went to PFA court on Tuesday, and he admitted to it, some of it. The questions, anyways, I think she had like 3 different questions or so, and he admitted to all of those things. He was trying to get around when he said he wanted to line everyone up in an interracial relationship and shoot him in the head. But as soon as I grabbed from my phone, he knew I had it, and I do. And that's when he admitted to it. Because in that situation, he doesn't know what I have and what I don't, which is, I have a lot more than he knows, that's for sure. I know a lot more than I've ever told him. And that was enough. The cop call on March 21st. And that was because I wanted to come get my stuff. We had arranged. I knew I was getting a house finally on April 1st. And I asked him when I could come get my stuff. Now that's being courteous, because I don't have to ask him if I own the house. I own the property, I own the house, you know what I mean? But I'm trying to be courteous, And he said I could come any weekend that he didn't have Jay. So the only weekend from that point to the end of the month was the weekend of March 25th. And so I contacted him earlier that week. The movers were already set up. So obviously I have this massive hernia, and I have 2 bedroom sets, a dining room table set, and a few other furniture pieces that I purchased post-separation, because I planned to move out. And he asked me to stay and try to cohabitate with Jay. So some of the furniture I was able to cancel, but some of it was already en route. So that stuff stayed. And I figured if it worked out, I would just put it up for sale or whatever, and so on and so forth. But it obviously didn't work out. So I contacted him. It was like Monday or Tuesday, and I said, we're still good for this weekend. I want to talk to you about the movers and this weekend. All of a sudden, he's busy. Now he's busy. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm coming. So, and, he's like, you're not going to be here without me here, and blah, 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 blah. I own the house, right? I could be there whenever I want. And he's like, you're not going to be here, blah, 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 blah. If you come, there'll be hell to pay and all this other stuff. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like, I literally talked the landlord into letting us move in a few days early so I could get this stuff. I have the movers lined up, and you're like, nope. I'm the jerk, though, right? Okay. So I told him, I said, well, I'm coming anyways. So I think it was the 21st, 22nd, is when he told me that he was going to, he planned to kill us worse now than he had planned to kill me before. And it was like, oh my God. So I called the cops. Cops called him. Of course, he denied it. Subsequently, sitting on this stand, he admitted to saying that. And which I don't know if I should submit these transcripts back to that cop or what. Like, oh, he had a different story on the stand. And then that was the week they started returning my checks. And I think they did that purposely too, to try to hinder my ability to get the movers and move into this house. Like, how nasty could you be towards a kid, you know? Because this benefits Jay too. It's not just me, you know? We had to move 6 times all winter. Like, I finally found a house, stable house, in a development with security. That was my only requirement, really. That it had at least 2 bedrooms, and it was in a development with security. And I contacted this guy through Airbnb and asked him if he would consider renting. It was actually the house across the street. It's a 5-bedroom, longer term. And I told him what my budget was, and he agreed to it. And when I came, he said, I also have this one across the street that might be better for you. So that house is nice, but it is 5 bedrooms. Like, we would never use the downstairs unless there was company, you know? But meanwhile, I have to pay to heat it, you know? Like, so he shows us this one, and it's actually like the type of home I've always wanted. It's a chalet-style home, so when you walk in the front door, it has the huge loft ceiling, and the upstairs is all like a game room area, like a, you know, family room. Excuse me, sorry, my allergies, for Jay. And the first floor has 2 bedrooms, a bathroom. It has a laundry area and the living room and the kitchen. It's perfect. It's small. Maybe 1,400 square feet. If I had to look it up, I'd guess it's about 1,400 square feet. Has a nice little patio. There's security here, though. And that was the seller for me. Because, not that the cops won't come fast around here, but they've got his plate, they've got his truck, they've got the PFA. Like, they said there's another home in here where the woman was having trouble with her ex-husband too. And so, in any case, I said, okay. So after he threatened me, I was like, you know what? I said, I don't think it's a good idea we talk anymore. Because my boyfriend's getting tired of it too, you know? My boyfriend says I give him the opportunity to harass me. And he's right, you know? If I don't talk to him, he can't tell me he's going to kill me. You know what I mean? He can tell everybody else, but he can't tell me. I don't have to worry about it. So I rescheduled the movers. The first available appointment was the 22nd. And Tom and I agreed on that. And then I said, you know, after that is when I was like, we're not going to talk anymore. Now, of course, they hid my checks and the card and all this other mail. And I was actually there all week. I was there Monday through Wednesday. Every day. And there was mail. So I know it started on Thursday. Because I was there every other day that week, picking up other things. And yes, I was still receiving mail at my house. You know, in Airbnbs, you can't get a USPS mail delivered. It makes you a resident. I think that's why they don't allow it. So, and I didn't open a P.O. box yet because I didn't know what town I was going to wind up in. And P.O. boxes are expensive now. It's like $88. I was like, Jesus, you could get a P.O. box for like $10 a month. It's ridiculous now. And they started returning my mail the day my check came. So that was definitely intentional. And probably because I called the cops on him for threatening me. So, anyways, we rescheduled to the 22nd of April. That's the first I could get the movers to come back. And so we were up there on March 30th for a separate appointment. And I said, let's swing by the house. So we swung by the house. Now, I didn't ask to enter the home. I didn't go to the house. They as in my soon-to-be ex, his girlfriend, and his daughter, have been deciding unilaterally, without a judge, what stuff in the house that they didn't want anymore. What they were going to keep and what they're throwing in the shed, right? Now, mind you, they're putting my stuff in the shed that leaks. Is where they're putting what they've decided they don't want. In the shed. So, I went to said shed and started getting some of my Tupperware out because I have Tupperware stock. Because mind you, now they're hiding, stealing, throwing away. I don't know what they're doing with my checks. So I went there to get some of my in-stock Tupperware to sell that to help pay for whatever we needed. Because now I went, I think it was like 3 weeks before I got the post office open, got the mail rerouted there, and then had to put claims on those checks that went missing, and then they had to reissue those checks. It was like a whole mess, right? So, caused by them. I mean, no one else but Tom has any right to be there, but they've decided me receiving mail at property I own is something they don't like. They're not going to like a lot of things here soon, but okay. And so we got moved in here. Or no, I went to the house. So I go to the house and I load up my truck, and then I went to the garage because there's 3 totes in the garage of Tupperware still. So I went to the garage, I got some of that stuff out, and I go to pull out, and here this woman, his girlfriend, pulls the truck across the driveway and sitting there. And I'll plug that video in here so you can watch that. In my house to get some of my Tupperware, right? It's all Tupperware.
And my dad's girlfriend is literally vlogging us in this driveway.
And now I'm detained.
By the way, just to let you guys know, we live in the middle of the forest. We have no other way of getting out or inside.
Yeah, there's no other way out.
There's no other way out. This is the only way we can get out. She just got in the car and blocked it off. Like, we've got my food right here. We've got my blankets. We've got all the Tupperware. Almost all of the Tupperware. Like, bro. This is the average day at my dad's house, honestly, bro.
Call your dad. Tell her to move.
It's there.
This is the shit I deal with. I'm coming to property I own. I own this.
Yeah, if Mom owns the property, she can't even come to the property without being blocked in. Like, bro. Shauna had to snitch on us, bro. Shauna had to snitch on us.
Yeah. Now she's detaining me. Unlawfully detainment.
Keep this car on.
And she's doing this in front of the kid. Like, my son is right here, and this is what they do. Like, I'm in here peacefully. I get my stuff. No. This stuff belongs to me. Everything on this property belongs to me. Do you understand? It absolutely does. Well, unless you have receipts for something, it's all going to sale as soon as this house goes up for sale.
which is next week. So it absolutely is. He can't get a mortgage. What do you mean it's none of my business? I own the property. It's mine. So you have no right to I own that fucking truck you're in. Absolutely. Go check the registration. Go check it. Go check it. I could remove you from my vehicle right now. Go check the registration. I don't care. It's my truck. I own it. I'm telling you to get out of my truck. Or I'm calling the cops. Theft. 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 You're in my vehicle.
I'll get 911 on dialing.
This is what you do in front of children. It's unlawful detainment. You have 3 minutes to get out of my truck.
I'll call
3 minutes to get out of my truck.
I'll call the police. This one.
She's in my truck even.
Yep. We're gonna get the police sent out. How about you keep that video on?
This is unlawful detainment, just so you know.
I didn't detain anybody. I parked the truck where I pulled through.
So yeah, so I call the cops. Cops come, and obviously the truck gets moved. There was a little bit of a confusion there because he actually followed Alexis down the driveway. Shauna had come out, his girlfriend, walked around the front of the truck, and Alexis came around and moved the truck. And then I pulled up, and Shauna was sitting in the front seat of Alexis's truck. So I think the cop thought that Shauna was the driver of the yellow truck because he didn't see that switch. Because later on, Alexis is like, you tried to blame me for that. I was like, he followed you down the driveway. How the hell could I blame you for that? I said her, and pointed at the driver of the yellow car because that's where Shauna was sitting. But Tom lied to them again. He's got no respect for these cops. He lied to them again. He told the cop that he did it. And then when I had the video evidence otherwise, they looked like a bunch of liars again. And that's when she was questioned. But that incident, and then the next day is when I went to go get the PFA. And it was the next day. And they handed me this stack of papers. Now, mind you, the PFA I filed in September was withdrawn without prejudice, which means I can still talk about those incidents leading up to me vacating the home, and then, of course, everything all winter. And so I was like, you know what? Instead of me trying to sit here, because you can only see the judge twice a day, 11:45 and 3:45. So I said, all right, let me go home, and I'll type this out. So I typed it out. Now, mind you, I had a bunch of it already typed out from my notes because I'd already started gathering and putting it all into a doc. And I just needed to make it a little bit less personal and more like straight to the facts. So I lined all that out. It was approaching 3 o'clock. And I'm like, all right, either go now to get this PFA, or I decide to go and let Jay go see Tom. I was afraid if I went back to the court and I presented this to them and they denied it, then I would be late to meet Tom on the basis of the PFA. So I was like, if I'm late to meet this dude, all hell is going to break loose, right? So I was like, all right, that was a mistake. I should have just went to the court. Anyways, so I meet Tom. We switch Jay. I tell Tom I don't want that woman anywhere near my child. Because she threatened me right in front of my kid. I have that video too. I'll plug that in here. You hear her say something about she's going to throw something at my head or whatever. She all brazen. She going to find out. I wish she would. Oh, I wish she would. Oh, I don't think she's that dumb, but we'll see. We'll see if she's that dumb someday. And, she wouldn't do me the favor, I don't think, though. But I'll plug that video in here. Look, they got all these people living here. Alright, let me get out of here. I'll call you back. Nothing. The cops just told them what's the inevitable, which is I own it, so they can't stop me from being here. That's all.
Right, you can go.
Until it is not my property anymore, there's really not anything they can do about it.
Mom, no.
They just, no, the cop still has to come down. Is the cop still there? Yeah. So.
You're gonna hit my mom?
That was me, honey. Sorry.
Don't mind them. They're just disrespectful as fuck. Don't mind them. Okay. So you see Jay gets upset, and Alexis is talking about the situation with the cop, which I then went up and clarified with the cop. I was like, you know you followed Alexis down the driveway, right? Like, that's Alexis's truck. So, obviously it wasn't Alexis that did it. But because they did the switch, and he was behind Alexis coming down the driveway, he was still in his truck when that switch occurred, and he wasn't sure who was driving the yellow truck. Fair. So, in any case, Jay goes with Tom. Saturday, Jay texts me, and he says that Dad has cocaine, and that Dad's using cocaine. And then he calls me, and he tells me that Dad was wandering around the front yard looking for his brain. And I said, get out of that truck. So he tells me they're in the truck, and that they're going to go to Build-A-Bear. I said, get out of that truck. And he said he was afraid. So I hang up. I call 911. I said, my son just told me that my husband's high on cocaine, and they're getting ready to get in the vehicle and drive to Wilkes-Barre. And they took the call. By the time Whitehaven called me back, though, Tom was already in Wilkes-Barre. And they didn't go to Build-A-Bear. They went to the hospital. And my son sat in the truck by himself for an hour. I was on the phone with him the whole time. And while Tom was in visiting with his girlfriend, I guess. I don't know what they were doing. So when Tom got back to the truck, he told him that they were going to go to work, because he had gotten a call to go to work. And I'm telling Jay no. Like, I'm texting Jay, and I'm like, no, you're not. You're not going to work. You tell him to bring you back here. And he said, well, we're going to New York. Like, I have all this in text. And they went to the house. He grabbed some stuff, and they left. And they're driving. So now I'm watching them, because I had Jay turn on location. So I'm watching them, and they're actually headed this way. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's bringing him back here, you know? And they passed Tannersville exit and kept going. And then they went to his boss's house, got the stuff I guess they needed, switched to the bucket trucks, and then went to a job in Smithfield. And then Jay turns on the camera, you know? The whole time we're they were driving, I was just on voice. It was WhatsApp. And the whole time they're driving, I'm just on voice. And he switches it to camera. And Tom had told him to hold this flashlight up at them and to stand there basically under the trucks and hold the flashlight up at him. And I'm like, Jay, you get away from those trucks. Like this whole big scandal. And then I left to go get him. When I left to go get him, I called the cops en route. I got off the phone with Jay. I called the cops. I told them I was going. I told them there was an order. But I told them that he has my son in an unsafe situation. And he wasn't even given the basics of PPE. Hard hat, vest, nothing. It's dark. My son's just wandering around bucket trucks. Nobody's on the ground. Like, it was just a ridiculously unsafe situation. And I went to go get my child. And they said, okay, well, just let us know if you have any issues. So I picked up my child. And I left. And then that's when Tom called the cops and said that I had stolen my son out of a truck. He was safe. He was playing games. He didn't want to go, and I just took him. I'm like, that wasn't how that went down. But, okay. So then they asked me to come to the barracks. We went to the barracks. I showed them the videos. So they already knew Tom was a liar. Tom shows up with the same stupid story, and they're like, nah, she got videos. And because he told them he was leaving to go back home, they allowed him to take Jay. And then subsequently the next morning, children used to show up at my door. And they're like, can we talk to Tom and Jacob? And I'm like, you got the right family, but the wrong house. I said, they live in Luzerne County. She's like, are you sure? And I'm like, I'm pretty sure. I showed them my house. I walked around the whole thing. I'm like, nobody's here. And she says, okay, so they call Luzerne County. So Luzerne County calls me, the caseworker, en route and asks me for my side of the story. So I give her my side of the story. And she goes to the house. She pulls Jay out of the house. She questions Jay. And then when she's done, of course, Tom was standing at the window the whole time. And when she was done, Tom came out and was irate, got in her face, threw her off the property. And then at that point, it was already like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And she had the decision of whether or not she was going to go to the cops to have the child removed or just wait for him to bring him back to me, because our switch off is 6 o'clock anyway. So we decided for Jay's sake it would be better just to wait that 1 hour, you know. But she said if he doesn't bring him to me, then of course they would go back with cops and accordingly. So I went and met with Tom, got Jay. It was at that point they told me that I needed to file for full custody. So with PFA paperwork from Friday that I should have just went to go file, I go back on Monday and I file it. I've not filed against a girlfriend yet for Jay. I will, because he can't follow instructions. So I do need to do that by next weekend and make sure that Jay is not around her. I went to PFA court, and they gave me the PFA just on the basis of entrapment, or not entrapment, but detainment, because it's a form of abuse. Him not allowing us free movement is a form of abuse. And in itself, never mind everything else I had. And because I told the judge there was so much more, and he was like, no, you have enough right here. Boom. Granted. Temporary. And then you get it for a week and you have to go back. The sheriffs did go out there. They did leave a notice. And he didn't call them. So when I went back Monday, they didn't have a form of service, so they extended it to May 1st, giving them time to serve him. It was at that point that I requested they get the local police department involved, that they would go out there and serve him, and they did. So after I filed the PFA, or went to that hearing, and they extended it, the police department of Strasbourg calls me back, PSP, from the incident with him taking my child to work with him. And they said that basically Thomas called there every day trying to get kidnapping charges pressed against me. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I've not been in trouble. Like, I don't cause trouble. I pay my taxes. I do my thing. But I said, put my child in danger, and you could serve me with every piece of paper you have in that building, and I'm going to go get him. And I told that to the cop. And it's just a fact. I'm a mother. That's what we do. It doesn't matter. You could have the paper companies drop off all the paper in the world. I'm still going to go. And he was like, no, he actually talked to the DA. Believe it or not, there are exclusions. And that's one of them. That if your child's in danger, you know, you, by law, should protect your child. So, everyone, obviously, with the videos I had, could see that he was in danger. So, they were going to pursue charges. But then that's when I asked why they weren't pursuing charges against him for endangerment. And I went on to explain, you know, what has happened. And he said, it sounds like he needs evaluated. And I said, yeah, why don't you guys 302 him, you know? Which is like involuntary mental health evaluation. And that's when he said it's really rare. It's really hard to get as an officer. And that the family, excuse me, would be the people that would have to do it. And I said, well, they're not doing anything. They're just watching him waste away. Nobody's doing anything. And he was like, well, you're family. I said, how, like, we're separated. He was like, are you the wife? I was like, yeah. He was like, did you sign divorce papers? I was like, he won't let me. He's not signing. And he said, you're family then. I said, you know what? Yes, I am. So I went. I called Luzerne County Crisis. And I told them exactly what happened. Exactly the same stuff that he admitted on the stand to saying. And once you become a threat to yourself or others or society as a whole, because his statements are not just me. There's some that are just me, but there's some that are society as a whole. Boom. So they 302'd him. And he claimed in PFA court that he was cleared. But of course he probably went in there and lied. He didn't on the stand that we have now. But he went in there and lied and was cleared. And then and that was it. And then subsequently, I guess he quit that Friday. I filed for an increase in support because my unemployment's running out. And I was trying to be nice about that. But it does not pay me to be nice in this situation at all. And so I filed for an increase, and that was mailed out the 13th, and he quit the 15th. He quit his job, which is what he told me he was going to do if I ever filed an increase. So we go to support court the day after the PFA, and he tells him he quit because of all the duress I put him through or something to that effect. And I'm like, dude, I haven't talked to you in a month. So if you're feeling pressure, you might want to check the people in your house. I haven't talked to you in a month. And so now he has to go get proof of that. And so they denied it on the basis of he's not working. And voluntarily. So now he doesn't want to make sure his kid eats or anything of that nature. It's okay. My dude does care. Jay's bonus dad in effect. And we'll be alright for the meantime. All of this he'll have to pay out of his share of the equity. I did fire my old attorney. I hired a new one. And he's like on a petition filing frenzy. So we'll see what happens. I'll let you know when my next court date is. But in the meantime, I have to get this hernia fixed. I have a 7-inch hole in my stomach. And it's causing a lot of problems. Between that and my seizures and stuff like that. But the biggest issue right now is the hernia. The issue is the seizures. Because, you know, obviously going through surgery puts your body in stress. And they're concerned because of the overage of stress I'm under now, that if I go through surgery, you know, I'll finally have my first grand mal seizure. And once you have one, it doesn't revert. So right now they're just focal, you know. I say just focal, but right now my brain just times out under a lot of stress, which causes the short-term memory. But once it escalates to focal seizures, or from focal to grandma, that's when it doesn't revert. So they're trying to keep it so that that doesn't happen. And last I spoke with my neuros, they didn't want me to undergo any surgery right now. That wasn't life-threatening. You know, if it's a life-threatening thing, fine. But right now, if I can get away with my hernia, they want me to do that. So that's it. Now that we're settled, I got all of our doctors switched over. I got the appointments made. Me and Jay have not seen a dentist. We both need to see a dentist. His teeth are perfect, but mine, between smoking and coffee, right? So, and we're gonna both go see the dentist and get in with regular physicians here, and I'm gonna switch my neuro, since my neuro left that health system anyways. I'm going to switch my neuro to one of the bigger, more reputable health systems that are here in this area, so, and see if I can, you know, undergo this surgery. I need to get this surgery done. And I think that's why the employers are shying away from me, because I have a 7-inch hole in my stomach. So I'm just doing remote work, and I signed back up a Tupperware because I got to do something. Like, even though I have my dude, and me and Jay both are confident to this point that he would definitely make sure we have a roof over our head and not starve. I'm just not a freeloader. I need my own money, and I need to work. And while I was going through all of those mental health changes and challenges all winter that Tom was putting me through, you know, it was some very dark days. And now that my brain is kind of woken up, I call it, from all of that, from July straight till today, and it's May 5th. like I said when I started the video. So I'm starting to wake up, and I need to get my act together here, do my best to get my health under control so that I can obtain employment. I'm looking for something in marketing and web and graphic design, because I really like doing that. So that's what I'm looking for, is somewhere where I could be creative like that, hopefully remotely, and so I can still take care of my son all summer. He has to go to some summer school. He doesn't have to, but his grades weren't the best all winter. I'm not a very good teacher, and then with the moving and the stress and the threats and all the stuff that poor kid was exposed to living with me and around me 24/7, and his dad just with the constant bullshit on the phone, Jay's grades sucked. So they offered it so that he could get caught up for 5th grade, and I accepted it because it's only 6 weeks, it's part-time, you know, it's just daytime, and he can still get his summer, you know, and that's that, you know. So that's what we're gonna do right now, and do my best. So if you want to book a Tupperware party, let me know. You can find me on Facebook, The Ray Johnson, or you know, leave a comment here and I'll reach out to you. That's it. This is a longer voice note, but I tried to explain all that. I hope I did a good job. Of course, you can ask your questions, but I'll talk to you guys soon.